This is absolute bullshit. What the fuck? Are you fucking kidding me? I'll never get that second controller. What a fucking dick move on their part. I gotta deal with fucking eBay now? I guess the scalpers win. You know what? Fuck you, Nintendo. Fuck. Okay. I'm calm now. Woosa. Woosa. Hello everyone and welcome to the After Hours Gaming channel. My name is Chris and tonight we have here the much talked about collector's item, the NES Classic Edition. A late 2016 release, this product was an updated mini version of the iconic 80s console, the Nintendo Entertainment System, or Famicom as it was called originally in Japan. Banking on the nostalgia of players who grew up with the system, as well as drawing in more casual consumers who were curious about this piece of gaming history, the NES Classic Edition was a success for Nintendo, selling over 2.3 million units worldwide in half a year's time. So why am I talking about this mini console over 7 months after its release and constantly referring to it in the past tense? Well, in addition to the prior reveal of its discontinuation in April, fuck! I know, we'll get there, I promise. So in addition to that, we've also gotten another reveal of something gamers have speculated on, but has recently been confirmed by Nintendo itself. The Super Nintendo Classic Edition. Yes, it is glorious. I'm literally a puddle of water as I speak. The Super Nintendo is one of my favorite consoles from the company, and this news has gotten me all kinds of hyped in the brand again. But given that this new classic SNES is a sort of sequel to arguably Nintendo's most talked about product of last year, I want to take a look back at the NES Mini itself to see what it did right, what it did wrong, the issues surrounding it, and most importantly, what can be learned from its brief existence moving forward. This is my review of the NES Classic Edition. Okay, let's start off with the physical contents. Here we have this box with nice looking art reminiscent of the original console. At the top, a Nintendo Classics logo. Pretty self-explanatory. At the back we have the box art and screenshots of some of the 30 games within this collection, as well as a full list of what you're getting. Included are Balloon Fight, Bubble Bobble, Castlevania, Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest, Donkey Kong, Donkey Kong Jr., Double Dragon 2 The Revenge, Dr. Mario, Excitebike, Final Fantasy, Galaga, Ghosts and Goblins, Gradius, Ice Climber, Kid Icarus, Kirby's Adventure, Mario Brothers, Mega Man 2, Metroid, Ninja Gaiden, Pac-Man, Punch-Out featuring Mr. Dream? Star Tropics, Super C, Super Mario Bros., Super Mario Bros. 2, Super Mario Bros. 3, Tecmo Bowl, The Legend of Zelda, and Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link. Overall, an honestly satisfying lineup. Inside we have one NES Mini, one controller to go with it, one HDMI cable, a USB and plug, one manual? No one reads these anymore. And a poster that again really rubs in the nostalgia before you actually try out the Mini. Looking at the NES itself, it is indeed tiny, fitting right in your hand and being very light to boot. On the back of the device are ports for USB and HDMI cables only, meaning that while the games are displayed in HD, there's not an option for composite or coaxial connections, unless you have a converter. On the front side of the device are the power and reset buttons, controller ports, and even the cartridge door, pretty much where they were in the original. Except the cartridge door is closed and sealed. Yep, the games included are all emulated within the console, and with no options to add games to this one-off device, the 30 titles are all you're gonna get. Absolutely no way to play more games on this thing. No way at all. Hack. Well, alright, it's time to see how this Mini plays. Let's plug everything in, hit the power button, and oh, fuck. One of the major problems you'll notice your first time trying out the Mini is the controller cord, and true to its name, the thing is fucking short. About 2.5 feet long, much shorter than the original NES controller cord, and roughly the length of 6 N64 cartridges. While I appreciate that the controller is wired to cut down on the input lag, the length is abysmal. Now granted, you can buy longer HDMI and USB cords, but these are extra purchases for something that should have been done right in the first place. You can also buy controller extensions, but given that the reset and power buttons are only on the console, all that buying them will accomplish is making you get out of your seat every time, to change games or turn the console off. If you choose to play the Mini with just the materials you get right out of the box, expect to be sitting about 4 to 5 feet away from your TV with the console sitting in your lap. Like this asshole. As the system is booted up, we're treated to this nice menu with a selection of the games available, all shown with their original box art. And the 8-bit-esque music that accompanies the menu really ties everything together. If you leave the console idle long enough, you get a demo menu with Mario and Luigi doing a little back and forth fighting over a question mark box, though clearly Mario's pimp game is strong.
You got my money, bitch.
Considering that this sequence is ripped right out of the startup screen for the Famicom Disk System, I have to admire the attention to detail here. At the top of the screen are your menu options, the first being Display, which lets you choose how you want to see your games. Of the choices, you've got Pixel Perfect mode, which displays the games at their native resolution, 4:3 mode, which is the aspect ratio you'd get playing the original NES games on a CRT, and the CRT Filter mode, which makes the games look just as crappy as they did back in the 80s. Scan lines, blur, and all. Yay, nostalgia? Next up are your options, which are your general settings. Pretty basic and not much to note. Third are your language options, which only change the language of the text of the menu and not the games themselves. Fourth are your legal notices, but nobody reads these anymore. And finally, the instruction manuals for each game, which you can check online through this code here because there's nothing on the actual console. Kind of a shame, really. I get that we live in an age where if you really want it, you can find anything on the internet, but it bothers me that for games that came out in an era where the instruction booklets were at times mandatory to get any progress, Nintendo decided to go the cheaper route with their implementation on this nostalgia product. Plus, I'm too lazy to take out my phone. Now last we can take a look at the games themselves. The NES Classic Edition outputs at 720p, displaying the titles in glorious HD, and I have to say, it all looks stunning. I mean, rich colors and sharp detail all around, the images just pop. But because my capture device sucks, piece of crap, you won't believe how great the games look until you play them yourself. There are minor graphical changes, however. Most notably, all the flashing screen effects in games like Mega Man 2 have been subdued, likely for safety concerns. Sprite flickering has also been touched up, but everything else looks very faithful to the source while still getting the HD upgrade. This is the same for how the games play. Everything here is more or less smooth without any noticeable input lag or frame drops. Definitely responsive all around. All the bugs, glitches, and cheats, remember, are still here and accounted for. And as a bonus, you have 4 save states for each title, all which can be replaced or locked to your liking. This is a great feature, effectively doing away with passwords or keeping your console on for a week just to beat a particularly hard level. Kiss my ass, Ghosts and Goblins. And that's the NES Classic Edition. All in all, a pretty good collector's item. But was it worth buying then, and is it still today? Well, the Mini isn't perfect. The collection of games, while satisfying, could have been improved. I personally would have swapped out a few of the arcade games you can get on other platforms like Pac-Man for some of the well-known fan favorites like Contra 1 or Castlevania 3. You can add games by other means, but unless you're into hacking, these 30 games are all you get. The length of the cords is still a bummer. There's not much in the way of features, and hell, you could argue that any emulation you can use on your computer makes this whole product pointless. But this is a simple nostalgia buy at the end of the day. Something that's easy to access and appeals both to those who want to relive their younger gaming experiences and newcomers that want to try these classics out for the first time. On those fronts, the NES Classic Edition succeeds. It's got the design of the original console perfect, the library is varied enough to satisfy most, the games can look great or crappy to your liking, and it's very simple to set up and play. So while the Mini does have flaws, I think it's a good product that's worth buying. At the original $60 price tag. Oh boy. Alright, well let's get down to the one thing that's driven everyone crazy about this adorable little console for months. Its availability. Simply put, the NES Classic Edition is fucking rare. Nintendo released this product in November of 2016 and was discontinued in April of 2017. In that time period, the Mini has been in very short supply. Whether in select stores or online, actually purchasing this damn thing has been a hassle. I myself had to get up before sunrise, go to my local GameStop, and wait in line for 4 hours just to buy one on the day of its release. There were only 8 or 9 available without any extra controllers and about 30 people waiting on the line behind me. Since then, I haven't even seen an NES in stores that's supposed to have them. As evidenced by the reactions of many folks online, as well as a lot of people I know outside the web, my experience was not unique. And I gotta say, this was a massive miscalculation on Nintendo's part. The hype for this thing was pretty big, and while the Classic Edition has sold well, there are still many people who want it but can't find it. And with its discontinuation, Nintendo is missing out on making additional income from those who don't have the product, while those customers are left out of options. Unless they deal with scalpers. Yes, if you're planning to buy the NES Classic Edition online, you're going to have to deal with the bullshit that always comes with a discontinued limited edition product. Inflated prices. What was once a $60 console can now go for around $200 to $300 depending on the site you buy it from and the seller. Fuck, and I thought the DBZ Rock the Dragon set prices were bad. No, actually, they're still much worse. This absolutely sucks, and is hands down the worst aspect of the NES Classic Edition, and leaves me wondering just why? Was this product only meant to be a limited edition release to boost sales for Nintendo until the Switch? Actually, that seems very likely. But even so, that wasn't properly conveyed to the fans if that was their intention, and the scarce availability just leaves everybody frustrated. While I do think the Classic Edition is worth purchasing, I don't think it's worth purchasing at the prices you'd find online. It's completely up to you as a customer if you haven't purchased this item already and don't mind spending what most sellers are listing this for. But what you will be paying for is essentially an emulator box with 30 games. A well enough designed one with quality emulation, but a simple plug-and-play console nonetheless. If you can purchase one at a decent price, I definitely recommend getting it. But otherwise, you're probably better off with other options. With the NES Mini essentially being dead and buried at this point, I can only hope that Nintendo learns from its mistakes with future products. The Super Nintendo Classic Edition already looks to be a step in the right direction, with 2 controllers coming packed in with the console, longer controller cord length, and in my opinion, a better lineup of games. No, seriously, did you see Star Fox 2? And most importantly, official confirmation from Nintendo that there will be more units available than the NES. Everything we're hearing about this new classic console sounds like an improvement. It doesn't necessarily make up for how the last one was handled, but I'm glad to see Nintendo attempting to listen to the fans and make better decisions with their products moving forward. In any case, I've enjoyed the NES Classic Edition and definitely can't wait for September. Well, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and until next time, take care.